Was the Awesome. So hi everyone. My name is Adnan Sayed, director for the administrative director for the MedTech Talent Accelerator. You're joining me today here for the information session for our program. It's called the Experience MedTech Program. Again, in terms of housekeeping rules, just requesting you to keep your mics on mute as we go through the presentation. And then at the end, we will seek questions from you. And again, we have about 50 minutes for the session. I won't be talking for more than about 15 to 20 maximum. So we'll have a good chunk of time, about 30 minutes, where you can ask me any questions you like about this program as you consider applying to it. So to start off, I'd just like to acknowledge that the MedTech Talent Accelerator is a partnership, is a program that's run in tandem at Ryerson University as well as McGill University. I believe the participants here on the line are either from Ryerson or McGill that are eligible to apply for this program. So what is the MedTech Talent Accelerator? Just to kind of give you an overview of what we've created here. So it's a training program. We're specifically focused on an industry, which is the Canadian medical technology industry. And what we want to do is train you and help transition students into the MedTech industry as they're graduating from a Ryerson or McGill program. So the bottom part that I wanted to highlight here is that, as you are in your master's or PhD programs or other programs where what you're essentially doing is you're becoming subject matter experts in a specific discipline. So, and universities are structured like disciplines. So just at Ryerson, I'm under the Faculty of Science, where we have 4 departments, which are all discipline based. So one is chemistry and biology, both disciplines together. And then there's another one for physics, another for comp sci, or another one for math. So again, the way universities are structured is by discipline, and engineering has its own disciplines, etc. But as you finish your degrees and you go into the economy to find jobs, build your careers, and establish yourself in careers, really what you need to be thinking about is in the lens of industries, because that's how the economy is set up. And industries are, I would basically say, is, similar products or services that are for a specific market, as well as the regulation of those products and services are similar. That's usually vaguely what constitutes an industry. And again, I wouldn't take industries as, exclusive. There's a bit of gray area between one industry and another. So thinking about the IT tech industry, and then thinking about digital health focus in the medical technology industry. So there is some transference of the sectors and industries as the term is used. But just to kind of give you an indication of how to think about this. So then our goal here with the program is, transition you from being students in disciplines to considering careers in specifically the Canadian MedTech industry. So how do we fit with your graduate program? So here, just in the red piece here, you can see, your graduate program is kind of independent of our MedTech Talent Accelerator program. Our program is kind of a layer that sits on top. It's usually, it's in terms of what the program is called at the university, you would call this a co-curricular program. So it's not really part of your degree achievement, or it won't really impact you getting or not getting your degree, but this is an additional optional program that you could participate in and benefit from while you're a student at either Ryerson or McGill. So in terms of what our program is, we have 2 bubbles that we operate. One is Explore MedTech. So really this is for, and we just had a seminar before this information session, which was one of the seminars. We have monthly seminars about the MedTech industry. And here the idea is, as students, we want you to think, be informed about what the industry is. So what is the Canadian MedTech industry? What are some innovations that are happening here? What are some challenges that are being faced by the healthcare market that this industry is looking to solve. So through our seminars, we're looking to share new and coming insights about the industry with you. And the intent here is that this will help you make an informed decision about whether you want to pursue a career in this industry or not. And if you do, hopefully there's some nuggets of information that you're gathering from these seminars that helps you kind of move forward in considering a path forward in the industry. We do record these innovation seminars. So if you go on our website, ryerson.ca/medtech talent, under events, you'll see that we've been running these seminars for about 1.5 years now, and they're all recorded and available for you to access at any time. And then the second activity that we do, again, this is more also to give you exposure to the industry, is a hackathon. So we did one in October focused on diabetes, and we're planning to do another one probably in the spring, summer. We haven't settled the specific date yet, but look out for that through our program, through our website, if you're interested. So that's the Explore MedTech side, and the information session here today is specifically around the Experience MedTech program. So this is the program we're talking about today. So this is in terms of eligibility. I'll go into a bit more detail on how we gather your eligibility for this program, but in general, it's meant to be in your final year of your master's or PhD programs that you are eligible to be in our Experience MedTech program. What we do in this program is once you apply to us, so for example, our round right now is for you to potentially take on a full-time internship in May of 2021 for a 4 or 8 month period. What we do here is you apply to us by the end of Feb. Between March and April, we'll give you access to our industry readiness training. So all applicants, as long as you're eligible for a May 2021 internship, you will get access to this training to take free. There's no cost to it to you. So the training that we're going to give to you, it's self-paced, it's online, that you would need to complete. And the idea of this training is the topics that we've picked to train you on are coming from industry. So they're coming from the medical technology industry. We have an advisory board of industry leaders that have informed that training, and they've said, these are topics that are quite important if you're thinking about working in the medical technology space. So that's where our training comes from. So we provide you, all applicants that are eligible for the May 2021 internship round will get our training. The ones that we're able to secure an internship for, they will also have a job shadow piece that will be tied to the internship that they'll get access to as well. So that's how the program works. And then again, under the training, we'll also give you some professional development and EDI activities. And just to be clear, just to be upfront, if our program is able to secure an internship for you, the set rate that we work with in terms of working with our company partners is, it is a $10,000 4-month internship. So it's about $2,500 a month that you would be looking at if you secure an internship through us. So what are our training modules that we cover in the training that we'll again provide to all applicants who are eligible for May 2021 internships? So these are the topics you can see on screen: reimbursement and like MedTech business and commercialization, as well as R&D. A key emphasis from industries around quality management systems. So if you know about ISO standards, that's actually very useful to them. If you know about regulatory affairs and what are paths to market for devices or digital technologies, an understanding of that is also very useful. So we give you some modules on that. And then some professional development pieces are here. One key thing that our industry partners have highlighted, showing examples of experience that you have in project management. So taking a project from an idea to developing it, and then delivering on that project. Again, think of your theses. That's a project that you've done. So those are things that are important to them to see as showcase in resumes and things like that when they consider candidates. So in terms of eligibility for the Experience MedTech program for the May 2021 round, you need to be currently enrolled as a graduate student at Ryerson or McGill University in any MedTech related program of study. So again, we're keeping this quite broad. You can be in engineering, you can be in science, you can be in other disciplines that inform the medtech industry as well. There's some students that have applied through an MBA program focused on technology to us as well. They are eligible as an example. So the eligibility is quite broad in terms of considering students, as long as you're a current graduate student at Ryerson or McGill. Um, the second eligibility requirement, which is also critical for you, is that as a student, you should have completed all of your coursework requirements and your thesis research. And you will be in the writing phase of your thesis by this date, April 30th, 2021. The reason for this is that we want to place you as full-time interns from May to August for masters, and for PhDs, we aim for 8 months, so May to December. In order for you to be able to work on an internship full-time, you need to be done with your thesis work. And what should be left is writing, which you can hopefully do in the evenings or weekends to move your degree to completion. And for this reason, and this is a very sensitive date and indication that you need to make to us, but this must happen in collaboration with your supervisor. So we do require you to have a form that we have. I'll show it to you in a little bit. That you have it signed by your supervisor, that you both are in agreement that you will be done most of your research work by April 30th, and you will be in the writing phase and available full-time for an internship May 1st onwards. And then the third requirement kind of speaks hand in hand with that. So once you're able to have your thesis work done by April 30th, May 1st onwards, you should be able to take a full-time internship for a 4 or 8 month period. So these three things are they're essential to your eligibility for our program. If you don't meet these essential requirements, you would be ineligible to participate in the program. So in terms of timelines, we are in the current round. We're looking at the applications are open to students. There is an application form on our website that you can look at under how to apply, that you can look at. The deadline to apply to us for May 2021 is February 26, 2021. So please make a note of that if you're looking to apply. In terms of how the timeline works is you apply to us by the end of Feb. Beginning of March, we'll give you access to the training as long as you're an eligible candidate for internships. Once we will then, between March and April, we will circulate your resumes to our company partners. We have a roster of at least 50 plus medtech companies now, since as we've been doing this for the last year and a half, that will circulate your resume to. And based on companies reviewing your resumes, they will make a determination whether they would like to interview you or not. And those interviews will take place between March and April. And once a company selects you for an internship, we will present their offer of internship to you for you to sign and for the company to sign. And then your start date for the internship would be May 3rd, 2021. So these are the timelines that we'll need to be able to work with, and you will need to be available, for example, to do interviews between March 1st and April 30th. You will need to take out time. Again, it shouldn't be onerous. This was online, self-paced learning. You can probably get it done in a week if you spend time on the training and getting that done in your own pace between March and April. And then the full-time employment you need, a full-time internship you need to be available for is May 3rd. So after you apply to us and you are eligible, it will be really important that you are responsive to us in your communication. So once we reach out to you with request to be interviewed by a company, you would need to respond to us within a day max, so that we can quickly get it scheduled, get you in front of an employer for them to consider you as a candidate for internship. So how do you prepare for your application? So first things, which is the key thing that I think you should, before you think of anything further in terms of points, the first thing is really please connect with your supervisor and get their buy-in for this program through them. And what you need to do as a formal way of showing that to us is you do need to fill out a form, which is linked on our website. I'll show it to you here. Give me a sec. Let me see if it'll open. I don't think it probably transitioned. I will unshare and reshare so that I can do that. So if you can see this form, this is a confirmation of eligibility form that you need to have your student, your supervisor fill out with you. So your name, your supervisor's name, program of study, what is your estimated month year of graduation, and then your supervisor confirming basically your eligibility for your thesis work. They need to sign and you need to sign. And this is once you get into our application form, this will be something you'll need to fill out in the application form and give to us in submitting your application. Sorry, I'm just trying to open my slide deck again, just so that I can continue our presentation. So I think you can see my whole screen now, which makes it easier. So this is our, so that's the form for for point number 1 that you need to fill out and get the signature. So again, please don't leave it to last minute. You'll need to do this in advance, and we need this in order to mark you as eligible in our program. Now, in terms of resume and CV, so that's the second attachment we ask of you in terms of the application form. Here, what I want to indicate to you is really please, you have both Ryerson and McGill has an exceptional career center, and their staff hired and really supportive of looking at your resumes and giving you feedback on that. So I encourage you between now and the deadline date, please reach out to them, schedule a session with them where they review your resume and give you feedback. And then you submit that resume to us. Now, in terms of some specifics around the resume that I want you to consider. So one, I'll start with the last one, which is, industry partners that I've had feedback from. They've indicated to us that, CVs are quite long. So, if your CV is 5 pages or 4 pages, that's quite long for employers to review. So please consider, we will accept a CV if that's what you're able to submit. And if it's of good quality, we'll work with it. But we recommend to you is if you can please think of building this resume on a resume format. And in terms of the resume format, a key thing that the employers will be looking for is, project management knowledge and experience. So highlight projects that you've done that describe how you've taken an idea or something that you were given under your thesis, where you've come up with a path forward for it. Then you've identified the task for it, then you've done the task for it, and you've delivered a positive outcome for that project. So those kinds of examples will be very useful for you to highlight to potential employers. In terms of contact information, I wanted to highlight this. This is more administrative than kind of what will attract employers. This is that we do make your resumes available quite widely to our employers. So there is a public link that we share with our industry partners through which they look at your resumes. It is a Google link, basically a Google Sheet link that they get with your resumes linked in there. So it's really important, please, we can't use your resumes where you've indicated a specific home address for yourself or even your phone number. I'll ask you to remove those things in your resume as this resume is circulated widely. I would ask you to, in terms of contact information, please just include your email and your city and province. So just I gave my own. So if I were to be putting the resume in, I would give my email address and then I'd just say Toronto, Ontario as the location. So this is the contact information you should provide. Please No home addresses, no personal phone numbers, because we do circulate these resumes quite widely to attract industry attention. Now, so that's the item number two. And then the third item that you need to provide, again, this should be simple. You should be able to go into your respective university portals and download an unofficial transcript. So this is, we won't be sharing this transcript with anyone. This is for us to verify your, again, that you've completed your coursework, you're in good standing with the university. These are things we need to check. So we will verify that through your transcript. That's why we're okay with an unofficial one. And again, just wanting to be very clear, we do not share these with anyone at all externally. This is for our personal review of eligibility that we use these for. And then one last thing I want to indicate, there are some companies that we name in the application form that we work with that you can identify as your like top 5 companies of interest. So I do want you to take some time when you go through the application form. Actually, I can show it to you briefly right now if I can. That would be great. So I'm just going to open the application form for you. And if you go through this, this is the form that you'll need to submit for us. Again, I'm going to just fill it in a rough way so that we can just click through and see that list. Okay, fine. Just again, I'm just doing this for the sake of clicking through to the next section so I can show you the right section. We do ask you for your status in Canada. This is important for us because there's some specific wage subsidies that are Canadian citizens and PRs are eligible for, and there's a certain way we can fund international students looking to be interns. So it's important we differentiate that as you're considered. International students are eligible, and please do apply if you're an international student for an internship. And then we ask you these simple things in terms of your levels of studies, your start date. Again, I'm just filling, please don't follow my filling in right now. I'm just trying to get to this next section of the form so that I can show you the list of companies that we have. And if you're not able to see my screen, please let me know. I hope you are. So this is the list of companies. So we have a number of companies that we've listed on top. So as you think about, as you fill out this form, we will ask you to please rank them. I do want to indicate to you that, you know, there is a chance that your top 5 might not consider you. Again, our interview and selection process for internship is industry driven. So while you may pick these companies as your top 5 preferences, it may be that other companies consider you based on your skill set for an internship in other than the ones you pick. But we'll do our best to, again, put all these companies that you see here, we will put your resume forward to our contacts in these companies for sure. So that is what we do. These are some of our main partners that we work with. Then if there's any other companies that you would like us to consider that are not on our list, we'd also welcome you giving us some input there. That'll help us do additional kind of outreach and finding out contact information so that we can reach out to them as well and bring them into the program as partners and consider you for an internship through that process. Okay, so this is the item number 4 that we were talking about in terms of MedTech companies. So that is essentially the program. Now, really, what I wanted to do is open up the floor for Q&A for you all to kind of, as you've taken this in and not raise your hands yet. So if you can maybe identify to me if you have a question, I could either unmute you if you raised your hand, that emoticon that's in Zoom, or if you want to write your question in the chat function, you can send the question privately to me, or you could send it publicly so everyone can see it. You could do either or. So I do have my first question. I have a Butcher Al-Sakati. So I will ask you to unmute and feel free to ask your question, Butcher.
Hello, Anna. My name is Bashir, and I'm an MN student in biomedical engineering. So I have a question, which is one of my degree requirements is to secure an internship. So would this be part of my degree requirements or is something only extra?
So sorry, you're an MEng student, is that right?
Yes, MH.
Okay, and which university?
Ryerson.
Ryerson?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we can definitely consider that. And again, I do want to indicate to you this is I think it's good that you asked this question. It's important that by you applying to us does not mean you will get an internship. I mean, you applying to us, you're an applicant. Once we're able to go through an interview process with you with a partner and they select you,
yeah.
that's when you secured an internship through us. So
Okay.
if we're a path through which you can be considered by companies for an internship, that makes sense. We could do that. But I do want to clearly indicate that, you can't say, oh, for my internship, I applied to the MedTech Talent Accelerator and
Yeah,
they failed me in getting me the internship.
it's
We'll
not a
do,
guarantee,
yeah, it's
of
not a guarantee.
course. Yeah, of
So I
course.
do
Yeah,
want to
got it.
very clearly indicate that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, also one more question. So in an MN program, it's non-thesis based, so I don't have a supervisor. So how will I fill out the form?
So that would be a program director
Program
that you,
director. Got it. Okay.
okay?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Adnan.
Thank you. So I have another. So please, if you could mute yourself, Busher. And then I have a question here on the chat. I just want to answer that. Then I can get to you, Dylan. So I have one. Is the internship only for May every year? No. So we actually run our program every 4 months. So if you're not eligible for the May round and you see yourself being eligible for the September round, please, I'll request you to follow our LinkedIn page and keep an eye on our website. We will be launching our September round, for example, in May. In June is when we'll launch the September round. So 2 months before the internship term, actually 3 months before the internship term, we launched the call for applications from students. And we run this every 4 months. So we run a round for May, we run a round for September, and then we'll run a round for January as well. All right. So Dylan, if I could have you unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yes, hi Adnan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks for the presentation. So it turns out I'm a graduate student at McGill, and it turns out I had contacted CAPS, which is the Career Planning Services office. Turns out they don't have any availabilities to review CVs until the end of the month. So like literally, I think it was the 26th. So it might not be possible to run our CVs through them before applying to MedTech. Do you think it'd be possible to either just provide a link to just a template CV to then just get a taste of really what on your behalf you'd be looking in? I know you said resume, not CV, so
Yeah,
it's just a
sure. So we can consider that. I'll ask. So because you're in McGill, I'm gonna kind of ask Jesse. So Jesse Ehrlich should be. Are you here, Jesse? I can't tell if he's here. No, I don't think he's here still. So okay. So we will look into that to give to you. But in general, I mean, if you Googled, resume templates, you should be able to find one that works. We do a review of resumes once you submit it. So after Feb 26, we'll take a week where we go through your resumes. So I would say submit the best resume you can, and then also please like book your meeting with your career center and get it reviewed. And within a week after you've been able to get feedback and improve it, we're happy to receive an updated resume from you after that as well.
right. So okay, that's sort of a follow-up. So you are sort of flexible in terms of maybe receiving an updated version past that deadline. Okay.
We do need a resume from you for you to submit your application. So please do your best to give your best quality resume possible for Feb 26. But I do understand it is 10 days from today. That is the deadline. So for you to find time on a calendar for the career center might be a challenge. So if that is the case, just make sure you leave in the notes. There is a place in our application form we always have for notes. So just mention it in your notes that you are connecting with your career center on this date and you'll have an updated resume. Again, I'll just say, as a way to just as a disclaimer, The latest we'll accept an updated resume will be the 5th of February. Because really it gives us very short time window to turn it around and get industry to look at your resumes and consider students for interviews and things like that. So the longer we stretch it, the less time window we have for students to secure their internships through us.
Sorry, you said 5th of February. You might mean 5th of March.
5th of March.
Okay, it's okay. And last really quick question, is there any use in sending like a English version and French version of CV if we're interested in working in the Montreal area or in Quebec, or does that not really make any difference?
No, I'd say if you could just give us one English version, and if you can indicate in your resume that you're fluent in both languages, I think that would be a good way to describe that.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for all your answers.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. All right, so again, if you have a question and you want to raise your hand and ask me directly, you can. I do have a couple of questions on my chat, so I will look through them to answer them. Okay, so there's a question around international students, and there is a fees. No, sorry, I apologize if I did not say that. There is no fees for any students to participate in our program. No fees. You don't, even if you're international, there is no fees at all. What I meant to, kind of a distinction that I made between international students and I would say domestic students, which are primary residents or permanent residents or citizens, is that there's a different way to fund the internships based on what student you are, international or domestic. So that's why we asked that question in our application form. As an international student, you're fully eligible to participate in this program. So please do apply, and there is no additional fees to you. Okay, I have a question. Okay, so there is a question around work from home or work on site. So that's a good question because we did place, just as an example, our last round, we received about 20 applications and we placed about 14 of them in internships for January. So actually this was one of our best rounds in terms of placing students in internships. A majority of those internships were work from home. So there were very few where a company indicated that they want a candidate to attend on site. Again, given the health guidelines of where you live and where the company is, that would be something that please, if you apply through us and you get an interview through us, feel free to ask that to the company themselves and make sure that you're aligned with what their requirements would be for working from home or working from their office. And then there's a question around, so there's a question around eligibility for the September round. If you're graduating in August, no, unfortunately, you do need to be a current student in the term that you take the internship. So you need to remain a current student from May to August in order for us to have you do an internship through us from May to August. So if you're looking at the September round of internships, so you need to be a current student from September to December in order to be eligible for the program. All right. I don't see any other questions yet. So again, we do have some time remaining. I have 17 more minutes where I'm open to any and all questions you have about the program, so that you're very clear in how this program works. So Dylan, feel free again to ask your question. Go ahead.
Sure, thanks again. So you had mentioned that we could put forward a company that's not already in your list. Is there any way that if we do suggest such a company that we could also in the process land an internship with them, or you probably need time to reach out to them and ask them if they're willing to
Any new companies you indicate to us, we go through a process where we'll do the outreach. If they respond to that outreach, outreach means we'll send them an email about the program and probably follow up with them a couple of times. Once they respond, we present the program to them. If they're okay with considering candidates through our program, then we'll make make your application and others available to them for consideration.
And it could be for the same year. So if I listed some companies, it could be, if all goes well, for this summer.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And then I'm open to, again, we're also open if you have a link to a company where they'd like you to be an intern for them, but they would like to work with us in participating in this program and taking you on, we can facilitate that as well. So you're open to kind of, if you are up for it, generating your own lead for an internship. What the company, the way they benefit from this is, as a student from our program, you will get our industry readiness training. And then with the company, we also sort out a way for them to subsidize your internship. So while you're paid $10,000 over the 4-month period, we find a way to reduce that dollar value for the company. So there are some federal wage subsidy funders like BioTalent that we help them apply to. So they pay maybe 5,000 of the 10, and they get 5,000 from the wage subsidy funder. So we do work with these programs and try to facilitate applications to funders to reduce the cost for the company.
Right. So it'd be in their interest to collaborate with MedTech.
Exactly.
If we have a lead for a part-time position, could that be something that could work out, or?
No, it does need to be full-time. It can be flex hours, but it does need to be full-time for
Right.
it to our program.
Okay, perfect. Thanks again.
No problem. All right. Anybody else? Any questions? I don't see any coming in. Please, you can, again, if you're not up for asking it publicly, you can send me a private message. I won't take your name, and I can simply pose the question and respond to it. We can do that. Or again, if you're up for speaking, you can just raise your hand and I can let you unmute and ask your question. So I hope the program is clear to you all, and I hope you will apply. As I've mentioned previously, I'll just repeat it one more time. So our success rate has been, in between around 50%. Our last round was actually quite good. We were close to about 60-70% that we were able to secure internships for. So definitely consider the program. If you're not up for asking a question here, my screen is shared where we show our email address. It's talentaccelerator@ryerson.ca. Again, you can be a McGill student or a Ryerson student. You please feel free to email us at this email, and we can respond to your questions one-on-one. So there's a question around some examples of placements or internships, so we have some testimonials on our website that you can look at from students in terms of what experiences they've had. In terms of examples of internships, in general, what I could indicate to you is they're basically R&D or engineering or science-based internships where companies are working on a product. Either they've commercialized the product and they're trying to improve it, or it's a first-time commercialization effort by a startup or a new company that are looking for very high-skilled talent like masters and engineering students like yourselves to contribute to their product development. So in general, that's been the type of internships students have received through us. They are mainly in line with your disciplines because they do look at your resumes and the companies in checking whether you're aligned in terms of the skill set you have and the skills they need. So they're in line with usually your degree and they're in line with the education you've had. And again, in terms of the product, it could be a digital health product. Like, we had Courtney in a seminar just now where he was talking about a software that's operationally important for the healthcare market that you're able to work on. There are companies that are looking at hardware to integrate that. into this as well. So there are a variety of roles that would be presented on the interview stage if you're selected by the industry to be considered for them. I hope that answers your question. So I do want to indicate, as I wait for more questions, again, I have till 2 o'clock. So please, I hope you won't leave with any kind of gaps in your understanding about the program. If you have any uncertainties or want clarification, I don't mind going over any part of my presentation again, so you're clearly aware of it. In terms of the internships, I do want to just reiterate, we do ask you for 5 companies as your priority list, but I do want to indicate, please, that you do apply to us. Don't hold us to it very specifically, because I mean, it depends on what a company's needs are for the next 2 months that they're hiring for. So we'll do our best to look at the priority that you've given us, but we'll also kind of do a more expanded outreach in having you considered through our partners. So as you apply to us, please be open to getting a potential for an interview from a company that you possibly weren't thinking of when you applied, but it would be a good experience for you to get in the door in the MedTech industry. So in terms of a PhD, there's a question about PhDs. Do they have to do an 8-month internship, or you could do a 4-month? So so again, I do want to indicate to you that our program is funded by NSERC Create. So our program does require masters to do a minimum of a 4-month internship, and PhD students, it is a requirement from the funder that it be an 8-month internship. We do our best to accommodate that. With PhDs, we can discuss that further in terms of how that could be made to work. You could do a 4-month internship and then apply to us again for our next round and catch another 4 months as you're ending your degree. Or it could be this one company that you do the full 8-month internship for. So there is a way for us to kind of manage that. To make it so that it's not compromising your graduation date as well as your studies. So definitely, if you have specific questions around your own kind of path to completion for your PhD, please email us and we can address that individually with you. All right. Any other questions? Again, so I hope, so I guess it was quite clear in my presentation. You know, as you are here as like interested in our program, you know, I'd love to hear a message from you. You could again send it to me privately or publicly. You know, what do you think of our program? Do you think it's useful or not? You can, again, if it's private or public, you can feel free to be candid. It's good to get some feedback from students as we run this program. If there's any specific things you see that make it a challenge for you to consider this program, happy to hear about that as well. We are a program that's been running for about 1.5 years, and we are definitely learning and improving as we go along. So up for feedback and comments from students as we continue building this program further. All right. So I see that I don't see, again, I see people dropping off and I don't see any other questions. So at this point, I'll please point you to our email address, talentaccelerator@ryerson.ca. If you're interested in learning more or have any specific questions, please reach out to us. I hope to see an application from many of you in this round for our May 2021 internship. With that, I'll end the session here then. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adnan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.